My friend, my colleague, Steny Hoyer, thank you for being you. Thank you for inviting a poor boy from rural Alabama, from Troy, outside of metropolitan Troy, to come by tonight. Thank you. Elijah, my lookalike, my twin, my younger brother, thank you. Thank you. Me and Carden, we came to Congress together. We served on the Ways and Means Committee together. Thank you for your leadership and for your service. And thank all of the honorable elected officials for being here. And all of you who've been out there fighting the good fight. You never gave up. You never gave in. You kept the faith and you kept your eyes on the prize. Now, Steny Hoyer, I tell you, he is one of my dearest friends. It's like a big brother. Steny, thank you for bringing me along. I didn't grow up in a big city like Fort Washington. I grew up in rural Alabama, 50 miles from Montgomery. I started with a little place called Troy. My father was a sharecropper, a tenant farmer. But back in 1944, when I was 4 years old, and I do remember when I was 4. How many of you remember when you were 4? What happened to the rest of us? My father had saved $300, and with the $300, a man sold him 110 acres of land. Wow. We still own this land today. On this farm, we raised a lot of cotton and corn, peanuts, hogs, cows, and chickens. If any of you just come to Washington, to Capitol Hill, and visit my congressional office, the moment you walk through the door, the staff will offer you a Coca-Cola because my district is the home of the Coca-Cola Company. And Coca-Cola provide all members of the Georgia Congressional Delegation with an adequate supply of Coca-Cola products. We have a little juice, we have a little water. Every now and then I may have a Diet Coke. The next thing people will offer you would be some peanuts. I ate so many peanuts when I was growing up in rural Alabama, I just don't want to see any more peanuts. Sometime I got on a flight flying from Atlanta to Washington or Washington back to Atlanta, and the flight attendant tried to give me some peanuts. I said, no, thank you. I just don't care for any peanuts. Now, you heard me say on this farm I raised a lot of chicken. Any of you know anything about raising chicken? Don't fool me. You're in church, right? Don't try to fool me. I know some of you like Bojangles, right? Some of you like Kentucky Fried. Some of you like Popeye. You don't like Churchill? Okay. Well, as a little boy growing up, it was my responsibility to care for the chickens. And I fell in love with raising chickens. Any of you know anything about raising chickens? Some of the sisters know something about raising chickens. You know how to take the fresh eggs, mark them with a pencil, place them under the setting hen, and wait for 3 long weeks for the little chicks to hatch. You know why we did it? Because from time to time, another hen would get on that same nest. And there would be some more eggs, and you had to be able to tell the fresh eggs from the eggs that were already under the setting hen. You follow me? You don't follow me. So when these little chicks would hatch, I would fool these setting hens. I would cheat on these setting hens. I would take these little chicks and give them to another hen. Or put them in a box with a lantern. Get some more fresh eggs. Mark them with a pencil. Place them under the setting hen. And wait for 3 long weeks for the little chicks to hatch. I kept on fooling and cheating on these things. And when I look back on it, it was not the right thing to do. It was not the moral thing to do. It was not the most loving thing to do. It was not the most nonviolent thing to do. It was not the most democratic thing to do. But I was never quite able to save $18.98 to order the most inexpensive incubator or hatchet for the Susan Ruler store. Are any of you old enough to remember that Susan Ruler catalog? That big book? That heavy book? That thick book?
Oh, yeah.
Some people call it the Orton book. Some people call it the Bush book. I wish I had this, I wish I had that. I just kept on wishing. But as a little child, as a little boy, I became good at raising chicken. But I wanted to be a minister. I wanted to preach the gospel. So from time to time, with the help of my brothers and sisters and cousins, we would gather all of our chickens together in the chicken yard and together here in this beautiful sanctuary. And my brothers and sisters and cousins would line the outside of the chicken yard, but along with the chicken, it would help make up the audience, the congregation. And I would start speaking or preaching. When I look back on it, some of the chicken would bow their head. Some of the chicken would shake their heads. They never quite said amen. But I'm convinced that some of those chicken that I preached to during the 40s and the 50s tended to listen to me much better than some of my colleagues listen to me today. Mr. Poirier, Mr. Carmen, Mr. Carton, they're exceptions. And some of those chicken were really a little more productive. And they really, this Congress is not doing too much these days. And that's where we got to get out. Get out and participate. When I was growing up there outside of Troy, Alabama, visit the city of Montgomery, visit Tuskegee, visit Union Spring, visit Birmingham. I saw those signs that said white men, colored men, white women, colored women, white waiting, colored waiting. I would ask my mother, my father, my grandparents, my great-grandparents why. That's the way it is. Don't get in the way, don't get in trouble. 1955, 15 years old in the 10th grade. Heard about Rosa Parks. Heard the words of Martin Luther King Jr. on our radio. The action of Rosa Parks, the words and leadership of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. inspired me to find a way to get in the way. To get in trouble, what I call good trouble, necessary trouble. So in 1956, at the age of 16, with some of my brothers and sisters and cousins, we went down to the public library in the little town of Troy, Alabama, trying to get library cards, trying to check out some books. And we were told by the librarian that the library is for whites only and not for coloreds. I never went back to the Pike County Public Library, little town of Troy, Alabama, to July 5th, 1998. It's time I'm in the Congress for a book signing of my book, Walking with the Wind. We signed some books, wonderful program. Hundreds of blacks and white citizens showed up. End of the program, they gave me a library card. It says something about the distance we've come and the progress we've made. Just think, a few short years ago, just think about it. In 1961, the same year that President Barack Obama was born, came to Washington, D.C. for the first time to go on something called a Freedom Ride. Back in 1961, black people and white people can be seated together on a Greyhound bus or a Trailway bus leaving Washington to travel to Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, on our way to New Orleans during the Freedom Ride. I remember so well, 13 of us. The night of May 3rd, went to a little Chinese restaurant on Capitol Hill. Growing up in rural Alabama, attending school in Nashville, I never had Chinese food before. It's a wonderful meal. Maybe some of the men will remember, maybe most of the women had the Lazy Susan. Really? Really? And take it round and round? And all of the silver dishes covered. You don't do much of that these days. And we ate well. And someone in the group said, you should eat well tonight. This may be like the last supper. We boarded a Greyhound bus, and some boarded a Trailway bus. And we traveled through Virginia without much of a problem. And in Charlotte, North Carolina, a young African-American man tried to get a shoe shine in a so-called white waiting room. He was arrested, taken to jail. The next morning, the jury dismissed the charges against him. My seatmate was a young white gentleman. The two of us tried to enter a so-called white waiting room, a little town of Rock Hill, South Carolina. We were met by members of the Klan, where we were beaten and left bloody in a pool of blood. It was May 9th, 1961. Many years later, one of the guys, member of the Klan, came to my office on Capitol Hill in February of '09. And he said, Mr. Lewis came with his 40-year-old son. He was in his 70s. Said, I'm one of the people that beat you. Will you forgive me? I want to apologize. The son started crying. He started crying. I said, I accept your apology. I forgive you. They hugged me. I hugged them back. And I started crying. It says something about the power of the philosophy and the discipline of nonviolence. That we can move toward reconciliation. But all across my own mother, my own father, my grandparents could not register to vote. They own land. They paid the property taxes, but they couldn't register to vote. They couldn't pass the literacy test. On one occasion in my native state of Alabama, a man was asked to count the number of bubbles in a bar soap. On another occasion, a man was asked to count the number of jelly beans in a jar. There were African-American lawyers and doctors, college professors, high school teachers, farmers, and housewives. People stood in a movable line. In March of 1965, 50 years ago, when we walked from Selma to Montgomery, we passed through a county called Lowndes County. The county was more than 80% African American. There was not a single registered African American voter in the county. People stood in a movable line. So we had to go out there and fight, and stand up, and make it happen. I happen to believe in a democratic society such as ours, the vote is precious. It's almost sacred. It is the most powerful, non-violent instrument or tool we have, and we must use it. If we fail to use it, we will go back. We made too much progress, we come too far, and we must not go back, we must go forward. Back in 1965, we didn't have email. We hadn't heard of social media. During the early days of the Civil Rights Movement, we didn't have a fax machine. We had an old turning mimeograph machine. In many parts of the South, we talk about a cell phone. We had party line. And just think today, we can bring about a nonviolent revolution in America. And it's so simple. We get out there and cast that vote. Yes, when the Supreme Court decision came down, I wanted to cry. I wanted to cry, but the tears wouldn't come. People that I knew People that I work with. I knew the 3 young men that were murdered in Mississippi. Andy Goodman, Mickey Schreiner, and James Chaney. I don't want to go back. We don't want to go back. We want to go forward, and we must go together. And it doesn't matter whether we're black or white, Latino, Asian American, or Native American. We're one people. We're one family. We all live in the same house, the American house. The late A. Philip Randolph was the dean of the March on Washington, who organized the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, used to say over and over again, maybe our forefathers and our foremothers all came to this great land in different ships, but we're all in the same boat now. So we got to look out for each other, care for each other, and pull together, and the best way to do it is use the ballot to change our society. And if we do it right in America, if we get it right, just maybe we can serve as a model for the rest of the world. So don't give up. Don't give up. Sometimes I feel in this day and age we're a little too quiet.
Yes. Yes.
We need to make some noise. And we need to push and pull. We can make it happen. You have wonderful elected officials in this state. The Maryland congressional delegation is probably one of the best. They're all the good friends of mine. We have wonderful leaders, local, state, I tell you. But Maryland must not stand alone. We need each other. Now, I got arrested a few times during the 6 years. 40 times. And since I've been in Congress 5 more times. And there are people who saying we want to take our country back. Back where? Back where? I don't want to go back. I don't want to stand still. I want to move forward. Martin Luther King Jr. said on one occasion, we must learn to live together as brothers and sisters. If not, we will perish as fools. It's time for all of us to be a little human, a little more human. Be kind. Never hate. Be happy. Full of joy. And just keep picking them up and putting them down. We had a little song that we did, marching on that highway, 50 miles from Selma to Montgomery. It just went like, pick them up, lay them down, all the way from Selma town. It's time for us, 50 years later, to pick them up, lay them down. I'm going to tell you one little story, and Stinny, I guess we have a question or two. When I was growing up outside of Troy, Alabama, this is the true story now. 50 miles from Montgomery, I had an aunt by the name of Seneva. And my aunt Seneva lived in a shotgun house. Now here in this beautiful state, in this community, in Fort Washington, you never seen a shotgun house. You don't even know what I'm talking about. My Aunt Seneva didn't have a green manicured lawn. Had a simple, plain dirt yard. You know what I'm talking about? All of you have been living in Maryland, right? Some of you may be from North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. My Aunt Seneva, from time to time, would walk out into the woods and cut branches from a dogwood tree. And she would tie these branches together and make a broom. And she called that broom, I got some witnesses here tonight, called that broom the brush broom. And she would sweep that dirt yard very clean, especially on a Friday or Saturday, because she wanted it to look good over the weekend, especially on Sunday. On Sunday. Sunday, we go in the meeting. We don't know who's going to stop by. We want our yard to look good. Well, for those of you who may not know what a shotgun house is, in the non-violent sense, it was an old house, one way in, one way out. It's like bouncing a basketball through the front door, and it goes straight out the back door. So you know what I'm talking about. But one Saturday afternoon, a group of my brothers and sisters, and a few of my first cousins, about 12 or 15 of us, young children, playing in my Aunt Geneva dirt yard, and an unbelievable storm came up. The wind started blowing, the thunder started rolling, and lightning started flashing. Mom became terrified. She started crying. She thought this whole house was going to blow. She got all of us little children to come together and hold hands. The wind continued to blow, the thunder continued to roll, the lightning continued to flash, and the rain just kept beating on this old house. And when one corner of this old house appeared to be lifting from its foundation, my aunt had us to walk to that corner, to that side, to try to hold the house down with our little body. When the other corner appeared to be lifting, had us to walk to that side. We were little children walking with the wind, but we never ever left the house. I said to you tonight, the wind may blow, the thunder may roll, the lightning may flash, and folks may try to take us back. We're not going back. We're going to walk